Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American psychological thriller horror film from 2024, titled Night Shift. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins with young lady, Gwen, driving to the all-tucked-in motel late at night to start her new job as the night shift manager. When she arrives, she rings the bell at the front desk, but no one answers, and as she looks around, she notices a yogi hanging on the wall. Curious, she decides to explore the area, and while wandering, she sees that room 18 is mysteriously open. She cautiously steps inside but finds no one there, and just then, she accidentally bumps into Teddy Miles, the motel manager, who has just finished cleaning some of the rooms. Teddy is a friendly and straightforward guy. He walks Gwen through the motel, pointing out its strengths and weaknesses, highlighting the areas that need her attention. He also mentions that the job is paid in cash, and as they talk, the yogi suddenly falls from the wall. Teddy explains that he inherited the motel from his grandfather and has plans to remodel it. He's just waiting for his loan approval. He then gives Gwen a tour of the rundown facility, eventually leading her to the supply room, where all the essential items are stored. Teddy warns her that the door can only be opened from the outside, so he uses a brick to keep it propped open and prevent them from getting locked inside. While outside, Gwen notices the pool area, which is currently under construction due to a sinkhole that formed last summer. Teddy explains that he called the county to have it closed, but they responded late and are coming this weekend to handle it. Normally, Teddy works double shifts, but since he has a date that evening, he leaves everything in Gwen's care for the night. When Gwen asks about the motel security since she'll be alone, Teddy reassures her that he has never witnessed any issues while working in the motel. However, he tells her that if she ever feels threatened or unsafe, she can lock herself in the parlor, which has a deadbolt, and call him. After showing her everything she needs to know, Teddy tells her he'll be back at the motel the next morning. He then drives off in his car, leaving Gwen to start her shift, and just then, Gwen notices a silhouette of a person watching them. Feeling uneasy, she checks the key holder and sees that room 6 is empty, meaning the room is booked. Looking at the check-in book, she finds that a guest named Ms. Marsh is staying for one night, and wanting to check on her, Gwen walks to room 6 and knocks on the door. When Ms. Marsh opens it, Gwen immediately feels uneasy when she sees Ms. Marsh's fingernails are bloody and covered in dirt. As Gwen prepares to clean the rest of the rooms, she notices a black car slowly passing by and the driver is watching her before driving away. Though it unsettles her, she shakes off the feeling and moves on to room 8. While cleaning, she comes across awkward stuff, but doesn't dwell on it. She simply strips the dirty bed sheets and puts them into the washing machine. Afterward, when Gwen steps outside, she sees a woman entering the lobby and assuming it's a guest, she heads inside to greet her, only to find the lobby completely empty. Feeling hungry, Gwen orders some food, and shortly, the reception phone rings, and when she picks it up, there's only silence on the other end before the line disconnects. The phone rings again, and this time, she checks the caller ID and is shocked to see that the call is coming from room 13, a room she knows is empty. The moment she picks it up, she hears a ghostly laughter on the other end. Terrified, Gwen grabs a knife for self-defense and cautiously heads to room 13. She checks the room thoroughly, but there's no one in the room. She notices the phone inside, but there's no sign that it was recently used. Just as she turns to leave, the phone rings again. Gwen checks the caller ID and is shocked to see that the call is now coming from the reception desk, which she knows is completely empty. Just then, a ghostly figure suddenly startles her. She screams in terror and stumbles backward. In her panic, she bumps into Alice, the girl from cabin 6, who is simply looking for a replacement hair dryer. While searching for one in the storage room, Alice asks Gwen what she saw in room 13. Trying to brush it off, Gwen says she's just exhausted from not sleeping for the past 5 hours, which is why she's imagining things and hearing voices. Just as Gwen finds the dryer, Alice accidentally moves the brick holding the door open, causing it to slam shut, trapping them inside. The light starts flickering and Alice begins to panic because she is afraid of the dark. The tension rises when they suddenly notice rats scurrying around the room, making them panic even more. Just then, the food delivery man Gwen had called earlier arrives and opens the door. Relieved, they sit down and eat together, and during their meal, Alice opens up about her difficult relationship with her mother. Alice describes her as harsh and controlling, and she explains that after a huge fight, she ran away from home. Feeling sympathetic, Gwen gently suggests that Alice's mother might be looking for her, but Alice dismisses the idea, saying her mom once grounded her for a month over something ridiculous, so she doubts she even cares. Gwen relates to Alice's struggles, admitting that her own mother was the same way, strict and sometimes difficult. However, she still loved her mom, who has since passed away, and strongly believes that family matters, no matter what. She warns Alice that the world can be dangerous, especially for someone trying to be on their own. Wanting to lighten the mood, Gwen goes to the vending machine to grab 2 Cokes for them. As she waits, she notices the same black car from earlier stopping nearby before slowly driving past her. A sense of unease washes over her, and she quickly returns to the lobby, locking the door behind her. Just as she tries to calm herself, Alice suddenly touches her, causing Gwen to drop the Cokes in fear. Noticing Gwen's shaken expression, Alice realizes something is bothering her, and sensing that Gwen needs space, she simply thanks her for the food and heads back to her room. As Gwen cleans up the spilled Cokes, she suddenly hears a loud thud, and she sees that the Yogi statue has fallen again. Just then, she hears a car pulling into the motel parking lot, and instinctively, she grabs a knife for protection before cautiously heading to the reception desk. The door swings open, and a couple, Warner and Birdie, walk in. They ask to rent a room for just 1 hour, explaining that they had just escaped a boring art gallery show and wanted to salvage their night with some fun. However, Gwen informs them that it's against the motel policy to rent a room for an hour, and instead, she offers them a full night's stay. Warner, who is visibly annoyed, insults the motel, frustrated that she won't agree to his request. Eventually, after much grumbling, Gwen reluctantly books room 2 for the couple and hands them the key. Later, while outside, Gwen hears strange noises coming from room 2. Curious, she peeks through the window shutters, and to her shock, she sees Birdie whipping Warner. Birdie nearly spots Gwen, but she flee and quickly hide behind their car. Gwen decides to go to the pool area, and as she walks around, her eyes are drawn to the sinkhole. As she moves closer to inspect it, she grabs the metal pool ladder for support, but it suddenly gives way, causing her to lose her balance and fall in. Gwen injured herself in the process, and just then, a ghostly girl begins to emerge from the sinkhole, slowly moving toward her. Gwen screams in terror, and at that moment, Alice rushes over and pulls her to safety just in time. After treating her wounds, Alice tells Gwen that she already knew the motel was haunted. In fact, that was one of the reasons she came. She had heard stories about the place and wanted to see if the rumors were true. As Gwen spots Warner and Birdie leaving the motel, she turns to Alice and decides to share something from her past. She reveals that when she was Alice's age, a man named Walton Gray broke into her house and murdered her mother and sisters. She was the only one who survived. The police caught Walton and sent him to a mental institution, but he escaped 2 days ago. What terrifies Gwen even more is that she recently found her mother's necklace, the one she thought was lost the night of the massacre, sitting in her mailbox. Realizing Walton had sent it to her, she panicked and left town immediately, but it doesn't matter because he followed her. Gwen has already seen him twice today, and now she's afraid for Alice's safety, and warns her to keep her door locked before leaving. Gwen sees a little girl entering the lobby and calls out to her, but no one responds. Confused, Gwen checks the security cameras and sees the girl standing outside, but when she looks out the window, there's no one there. When she glances back at the camera, the girl is gone, and suddenly, Gwen jumps in terror as she bumps into the girl, who is actually a ghost. She locks herself in a room and immediately calls Teddy, demanding to know why he never told her this place was haunted. She frantically recounts everything she has seen, but Teddy insists that the motel isn't haunted and claims he has never experienced anything unusual while working there. Furious, Gwen accuses him of lying and tells him that this is her last night, she won't be coming back. A moment later, the bell at the front desk rings which signals a new guest, and she apologizes for the delay as she steps out to assist the guest. But the moment she sees who it is, her face goes pale. It's the man who has been following her all day. He books a room for the night, and Gwen gives him room 8, and as they walk outside, her suspicion deepens when she notices the same black car parked nearby. Inside the room, Gwen pretends to get a clean towel and steps into the bathroom. While the man is distracted, she sneaks up behind him and suddenly attacks him with a pair of scissors. To her shock, the man isn't who she thought he was. His real name is Raymond Bailey, and he isn't a killer, he's her doctor. Raymond reveals that Gwen has been under his care for 12 years at Ashford Psychiatric Facility, and that she escaped 2 nights ago. There was never a Walton Gray, he was just a figment of her imagination, and Raymond reminds her of the stories she used to tell him about how her family mistreated her. At that moment, the 3 corpses Gwen believed she had seen at the motel appear before her again, but now, it's clear that they were never real. This place was never haunted, it was all in her mind, and then, it all comes rushing back to her, she was the one who killed her family. As the memories overwhelm her, she turns on Raymond and kills him with the scissors. A van from Ashford Hospital pulls up outside the motel, and inside are 2 men sent to take Gwen back. However, Gwen has a plan. She lures them inside the room and then, brutally kills them. Meanwhile, Alice hears the commotion from her room and curious, she decides to investigate. To her horror, she finds the 3 lifeless bodies on the floor, and standing over them is Gwen, holding a blood-stained scissors. Alice runs back to her room and quickly locks the door, and just then, the power suddenly goes out. In the darkness, she hears Gwen trying to unlock the door, and frightened, Alice hides in the bathroom and fumbles for her phone to call 911, but it's dead. She hears Gwen breaking into the room, and with no other option, Alice escapes through the bathroom window. She sprints to the lobby, grabs a knife for protection, and also finds Gwen's car keys. Alice attempts to escape with Gwen's car, but before she can, Gwen catches up and swings an axe at Alice, but Alice stabs her with the knife and escapes. Alice runs to the hospital van, only to realize that the keys are missing. She rushes back to room 8 to retrieve the keys, but before she can escape, Gwen attacks her with the axe. As Alice succumbs to her wounds, Gwen finishes her off. Moments later, Teddy arrives at the motel and notices that the door to room 8 is wide open. He cautiously steps inside and finds the room spotless, except for a bloodstain on the bed. Feeling uneasy, Teddy heads toward the pool area, calling out for Gwen, and just then, Gwen emerges from the pool and silently watches him. Confused, Teddy asks what she was doing down there, and Gwen replies by saying, "Come closer, and I will show you." 1 year later, a college student named Cole is driving to Ashford for school. Since his journey is a long 7-hour drive, he decides to stop at the all-tucked-in motel for some rest. In the meantime, Gwen has remodeled the motel, adding new features, including a fully constructed pool, and the sinkhole that was once there has been fixed. When Cole arrives, Gwen greets him and mentions that the hole in the pool was once so massive it could fit 5 people. At this moment, it is revealed that Gwen also killed Teddy and had buried the bodies of the people she killed in the sinkhole. After checking Cole into room 8, Gwen suddenly sees the ghosts of her family she murdered, including Alice. As the movie comes to an end, the Yogi statue on the wall falls once again. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Night Shift from 2024. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.